Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us. This is the regularly scheduled Danville Redevelopment Commission, October 15th, 2020. Pardon me, is not the regularly scheduled. This is a special meeting to accommodate a retirement party that was on our regularly scheduled meeting. Call to order. We do have a quorum for the record. We have 4 voting members and Dr. Schaefer as well in attendance. Some minutes have been circulated from the September 10th hearing. Have we had a chance to review? Any comments, edits?
I have read them, and I make a motion that we approve them as prepared.
A motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes have been approved.
Made the motion. Dave and I seconded.
Passes down to Gary.
Betcha.
We have several items on our agenda today for discussion. None of these are new items, more of just touch base on status report, I would say. First item is the Christian Church parking lot lease agreement. I have been working with the church trustees on this. We have shared back and forth a draft of the lease, and I think we're pretty much there. So it's not signed, but I think that's pretty much where we are. One of the prerequisites or things I think we should talk about before signing the lease is to review the quotes for the parking lot that we have in our packets today before us from Orr Paving, make sure we're comfortable with that number. And then the second thing, Mark, would be to make sure the town proper is good with the retaining wall project. Have we had any discussions with the church about that?
We have
cost?
not. Unfortunately, Barry there have been 2 sinkholes in the town. I don't know if you've seen the work they've been doing on them, on Kentucky Street, and another
seen
one on
that.
Indiana.
Yeah.
And Barry has
That's
just.
what those are?
Yes, sir, yeah. And so he's been dealing with that. He's
Yeah.
had no time to
Sure.
go do that project, so.
So I would propose to the commission that we not sign the lease until we have those 2 items nailed down to our comfort level, and the churches, that those improvements are acceptable.
Agreed.
But we're right at the door, so that's good.
Yes.
Any further comments on that? Barry will get to it when he can.
Yes, sir, yeah. He's on vacation today.
yeah.
Tomorrow, but,
And so perhaps we should discuss the proposal of contract. Looks like Hendricks County Paving sent us proposal 20-187 and 20-186.
those are different.
Yeah,
Those-
these are for the things.
That's for your, the projects out on
I got you.
Main Street.
My
I
apologies.
don't think we have one. for
My
the-
apologies.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
have anything, Lisa didn't include anything in here?
We had seen it before,
Okay.
and we won't go digging for that right now.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that, Mark.
all right.
Misunderstood. Anything further then about the lease agreement with the church?
No.
Nope.
We'll move on then. Consideration of dissolving the Commerce Park TIF district. Mark?
If I recall correctly, that was brought before you at the last meeting by Clerk Treasurer Piercy. It hasn't been drawing any money for years.
Yeah.
There's currently $264,035.55 left in the account. That's the projects that we brought before you tonight. But I think State Board of Accounts, DLGF, go ahead, Barry, I'm sorry.
So we're really not dissolving the TIF district itself. We're dissolving the funds that exist within that.
Yes, and I thought there was some consideration to go ahead and,
Because we My memory tells me we would dissolve that district a long time ago.
We'll have to
But
find
there,
out,
but the money was left in there for the use of the upgrade at the roundabout.
okay?
So I don't know how the split came down that way.
I wish I knew. Again, I don't have and unfortunately, she's had surgery and she's not able to attend tonight.
Right? I'm just telling you what my memory is.
Sure.
So, Mark, about the money then, and what exactly are we looking at then?
Well,
Before us.
I've provided you some packets with some information.
That's what these quotes are.
I'll start with the monument totem there in the middle of the roundabout that we had, that I put the picture up the last meeting, showed you. Will was finally able to get some prices, and it appears that that will be about $79,478.32.
One more time, Mark?
$79,478.32.
So you were looking at two options?
We did look at two options. The ground one, I just don't think it fits, to
Gotcha,
be honest
okay.
with you. But, I mean, it's your guys' money. I can't tell you how to spend it, obviously.
I see, yeah.
And then Barry did get some quotes or some estimates on paving the areas that we talked about. One is I want to say it's a decel lane.
Passing blister?
Yeah, I've got passing blisters,
Passing lanes,
yeah.
turning lanes.
That's what it is. So there were three different ones. One's in front of Beasley's, or two of these are in front of Beasley's. One is a passing lane, the other's a turning lane. And again, both we think are necessary, obviously. The passing lane would be $21,300. And the turning lane would be $19,250.
Those are the exact quote, correct? Price-wise?
And then in front of Woodland Terrace is a passing lane, and that was $21,300.
So with all of these, including the signs, we're at like 140-ish?
Something like that.
So I'd say that's about right.
Just
Just
I'm
rough
just
ball.
looking at the round numbers.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's, how much in that?
$264,035.55.
These are projects that you'd like to get done this year?
Yes. Well, I don't know that we're in a hurry. I mean, the money's been sitting there for several years, but I'd like to commit to them if we can. We just did a ribbon cutting on Woodland Terrace. Beasley's is probably towards the end of their season, I would imagine, so.
Did you get the contractor to schedule, or the plant's gonna shut down in November sometime?
That's the problem, is that we may not get it in time. This is just for your, these are just some estimates for you guys. You guys wanted some hard numbers, so that's what we brought before you tonight.
Mark, do you know, is that estimated coming out of our local plant or out of Indianapolis? Or the asphalt?
The asphalt, I assume it's gonna be somewhat local, because it's Hendricks County Paving, but they don't say where they buy their asphalt, to be honest with us.
I know working with a different contractor,
Yeah.
of course, but if it's early, they get it out of Indianapolis.
Right.
And that may make a difference, but also may extend your availability too.
Right.
Depending on timing.
Yeah,
It's better to stay local if we can. But
yeah,
just a question on the totem.
yes, sir.
How do you see that fitting with other town signage, entrance signage coming into the town of Danville, as far as fit and style and that type of thing?
From what I remember of it, from what Will showed, did you see it the last time?
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember.
I thought it fit right in with the wayfinding like we've got right here in front of Town Hall, similar colors, similar font style,
Good.
things like that.
Okay.
And I think quite honestly, it'd rival anything that Plainfield's got to offer.
Okay, so I assume Will's thought through that a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Then the balance of the funds, which would be what, roughly
30.
$124,000. Obviously, if with your blessings, what we'd like to do is finish up some trails through those areas. I know the other thing that I'd like to look at, and I was kind of surprised Barry didn't, we talked about some drainage issues. But I don't know, where Barry's at on that, because again, said the boy's been very busy, unfortunately. But we know we've got a drainage issue right there in front of Beasley's that goes all the way through Commerce, almost all the way to, I can't think of the guy's name. Used to run the printing shop.
Brickler.
Brickler, yeah.
Phil Brickler.
About to Phil's house there, that we've done a lot of work in there. I know Barry, if I recall correctly, he was anticipating about 50,000, but I don't, that's the last time he and I talked. But I don't have anything from him here showing what that would be.
And this problem's causing drainage issues where?
All the way across the board.
So through the Commerce Park?
That's right, all the way through Commerce. You'll see, on a really bad rain day, you'll see washouts across Main Street in front of Beasley's. And then you'll see flow through Commerce Park.
Maplehurst.
Right, up through the
So
Maples.
if Beasley's continues to develop, and he's got a nice big article in the paper this week about some of their thoughts they're looking to do, this would help that situation for them to drain into, or an outlet or something, or
Right.
will it not
Well,
benefit that at all?
I think what Barry's ultimate goal is to take it to the large drainage area there along US 36.
Oh,
It's
okay.
very deep along there.
And that would drain north
That's correct.
of the
Well,
Commerce Park?
it drained south of,
To the 230.
yeah, to US 36.
I'm just adding, if Beasley's were to develop
Right.
more, that would be their outlet
Oh,
probably.
I think it would help them greatly, yeah.
Well, I'm a fan of drainage projects,
Yeah.
but
Like I said, I don't know, I thought he would have had that in here, but again, he's been so busy, and I apologize for that.
Are there any informal or maybe unspecified trail projects or areas that you've had in mind there more specifically?
I know what Will's talked about is that he'd like to take where at 200 East, the sidewalk or trail, you call it what you want, stops. In fact, there's a sign there that says, I mean, yeah.
end of sidewalk or
And,
something.
and so I think what he'd like to do is he'd like to be able to connect that out to Commerce Park and make that connectivity. Ultimately, we met with a company that does planning for trails and sidewalks, and we've put together an extremely lofty plan, to be honest with you, and because of food and beverage money. And what we would like to ultimately see at some point when we can figure out how to do everything is connect to Washington Township Avon and have them connect to Guilford and Plainfield and up into Brownsburg. And that way, all four communities are connected by trails. And so if someone wanted to take their bicycle from downtown Danville, they could theoretically go to downtown Plainfield. I don't know when that'll happen, but this is just another leg of that happening.
Any consideration for trail or sidewalk to the hospital
Which side?
on the north side?
Because we've got one that runs down Sycamore that connects to Terry Kirtley Boulevard. You have to cross Sycamore there. But we are looking at, in fact, it's the first project that we're looking at because it was the first one that came to our attention when my administration came in, is right there at Money and Sycamore, taking a sidewalk and going up Money Lane and connecting Temple and that new subdivision that's there, just right there. I can't think of the name of it, but connecting all those with some crosswalks and everything, helping Sycamore Services put a crosswalk so they can get to their facility, the church they bought. And then, of course, extend a crosswalk at Terry Kirtley Boulevard to the north side of Sycamore.
with a new housing division going in out there,
It's huge.
that would connect it all the way back to the
all
park.
the way. It would connect, we figured it up when, this is before that was even proposed. We figured it would connect essentially four subdivisions, plus Old Farm, the hospital, all to the park.
And the sidewalk trail I was talking about was going west from 200 East to the hospital.
Gotcha. So you're looking on the north side of the road then? And I know there's a site, we call it the sidewalk to nowhere. There's one right there right in front of the fairgrounds. 'Cause I think there's another sign there that says sidewalk ends, so, yeah, I think anything's possible, Gary, to be honest with you.
Okay,
We have not ruled out anything.
now's the time to ask.
I agree. Like I said, I know, when we met with that company, it was almost overwhelming, with the projects and Will's a dreamer. I can't, he keeps me young. He truly
Well,
does.
theoretically, if money wasn't an issue, and it always is, but you could run out to Beasley's, and you could run down 200 down to 10th Street,
Right?
take a left, and connect that all the way back, and then come clear back around,
Yep.
back to the park.
And I would encourage you to remind me that, because part of this process is we'll start having public meetings. And so remind me of that so I can make sure Will knows that because that is a great idea. It'll help out a bunch, because we connect Whisperwood, grab it. And plus, there's a new subdivision being proposed on the east side of 200 East.
Between the monument, the 3 paving projects, leaving approximate balance of 125, if we did contribute to the drainage, may leave some money, like 75,000 or so, towards balance that could be used towards trails,
Yes, sir.
which would close out this account.
Right.
Is there any action you are looking for tonight from the commission?
As of tonight, what I'm looking for is just to make you aware of it, because I don't know that we're ready to move forward unless you want to approve these 3 or these 4 things. That's, again,
Would you like us to consider approving the,
that would be,
would it be the monument and the 3 paving projects?
yes, sir. Yeah, that'd be dandy.
Open it up to the commission for discussion, and
So moved.
we have a motion on the table to approve the sign works quote for the monument at $79,478.32. The motion also includes Andrews County paving proposal of contract number 20-185 for the sum of $19,250. It also includes Henderson County paving proposal of contract 20-186 for the total sum of $21,300. And Henderson County paving proposal of contract 20-187 for the sum of $21,300. Is that accurate, Mr. Aiken?
Yes, I second that motion.
A motion and a second on the table. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Is there a time limit on allocating the balance of that?
Not that I'm aware of.
So end of the year is not a deadline or anything like that?
In fact, I have a feeling we'll be carrying into next year.
Okay.
It rolls over.
Yeah,
Like it's been doing, I
Yeah.
see, okay.
yeah. We'll just let DLJF know that we are making progress on getting the account zeroed out. And I will be back next month with you, and we'll make sure we have, I'll have Barry have an estimate, and again, I don't know that Will's gonna be providing. I think Will would love for you to say, will you get the balance to make trails? So, we'll see where that goes.
I have a question on the park impact fees that have been, as part of the ordinance now. Can that money be used for things like trails, or is that strictly on park grant?
Gary, if I'm not mistaken, you've probably got some expertise in this.
There's an ordinance that specifies where the money is to be spent.
I'm sure there is.
And it's, I'm sure You can write it to be very narrow, or write it to be very broad. I think they went the broad way.
I'm sure, yeah, probably.
So,
You're
but
not
yeah.
sure, though, okay.
But yeah, primarily those food and beverage ordinances.
Not the food and beverage, the park impact fee.
The park impact
Impact
fee.
fees. so
Yeah, because I wasn't around when
That can go just to the parks.
that's what I was thinking.
And trails doesn't count for parks.
Only
no.
within the system itself, if I'm not
Within the
mistaken.
system
That was
itself,
the question,
yeah.
gotcha. So he can't use it in
Correct.
that money
He
that'll
can't
be
use them
funneling
outside
in.
of, like,
Okay.
he couldn't use it there unless we designate it as park property. Interestingly enough, there's some property behind the roses that's actually zoned as a park
Mm-hmm.
that we could trail that all day long. I don't,
I see. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I believe it does have to be zoned park for
We
us to use
just,
it.
we just can't get Mike to buy it.
Well, we're working on that. I've been waiting for things to settle down. We're hoping to hit the paper in the next couple of weeks on that. So get those all up for sale, because I know there's other people that are interested in some of the other parcels. Unfortunately, that, as you know, Gary, there's so many hours in the day, especially during budget time.
No further comments on the old TIF. We'll move on. Last item under the items for discussion, the annexation list. Gentlemen, I apologize. I have not scrubbed down that list and what Lisa has provided to us. If anyone has looked at it in detail, please feel free to comment.
Very comprehensive. I had a conversation with Lisa, making a suggestion, and Ben, you may disagree with this from your professional side, but a long time ago, in working with Kevin Dogan, former attorney for the Indiana Association of Cities and Towns, and our first municipal attorney for a long time, is that when you're looking at a large list like this, you can prepare a map, and that map will become the annexation area. And when you develop your ordinance and fiscal plan, it's pertaining to that area map. Now, the problem would be that if you have one remonstrator out of that, it could mess up your contiguousness and just screw up the whole works. But it also, from a management position, gets it done simply and efficiently. So, I don't know, she's gonna have to check with Jewel, is Jewel?
Jewel, like
Jewel.
a ring jewel.
Jewel,
Yeah.
yeah, the town attorney, so we'll see what happens on that.
Yeah, and the committee needs to reconvene about a friendly way to approach all the people on that list about this concept.
I have a question.
Paving the way, if you will.
So there's some annex or parcels identified here and here, but not in here. Are these already in town, or do you know? Between the airport and the 150E, there's a couple not highlighted. I was just curious, is that already?
Some of these already
Okay.
are annexed in.
Just
And I don't
curious
have
why they
those
wouldn't be
identified.
on the list
Yeah.
if they weren't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that item, I plan on getting to it as time allows, and I encourage you all as well to take a look at the list, get comfortable with it, and maybe start making notes on how you think it's best, who would be best to approach everyone on that list. Maybe different people for different conversations.
One of the things that we brought up, and it's in the minutes, was the ordinance and to what the zoning, that if we, so that would be something that we could at least get that one knocked out.
Text amendment change in the works about when someone annexes in, that it comes in not as
R1.
residential, but
Right.
the most equivalent?
We are, I am in full agreement with that. I haven't had a chance to talk with Lisa. She's on vacation this week as well. I guess everybody's on vacation. But I am in total agreement. I talked to a property owner here in Danville that owns numerous properties, several rentals, storage units, things like that. We were discussing the same issue, you know, that it makes no sense that if it's zoned commercial industrial and then all of a sudden we annex it in, it becomes an R1. It should come in as a like, that's my opinion, so.
Most of the time, when you're dealing with that, you've got the annexation ordinance, then you got the zoning ordinance right behind it.
Right. And
Classifies that piece of property.
right, and so, yeah, I think we'd rather change that text and make the text amendment on that. But, like I said, Lisa, that's
Very
something we
good.
gotta talk with.
Very good. Yeah, okay. Any other comments on that item? Good?
What about the phase one environmental, that's on number 3?
Did I skip over one?
Yeah.
On the donation lot, an environmental consultant has been hired, and they are in the works on doing their analysis and research.
Okay.
When that's done, I think we'll be in a position to acquire the land. We await to hear their findings.
What they're doing,
Not entirely. I do not know their job entirely, no.
I think
know-
you're
I
familiar.
just wondered if they were actually taking so long.
They may, it depends. In some cases they do, in some cases they don't. I think it's a site-by-site determination on the history.
They gave you a price.
I mean, it's a phase one, my experience is, if they see something, you go to a phase two.
They don't,
Yeah, they just
they
do
just
the,
they might come back and recommend
right.
to you that you might need probing.
Right.
As it is next door to
Right.
an old existing gas station. And then that's up to you what you want.
Yeah, we await their findings and recommendation, and we'll take it from there.
To be honest with you, what they'll probably tell you that it's next door to an old existing gas station.
I'm sure they'll say that.
That's a fact.
It is that simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, moving down the agenda then, reports, officers, committees, and staff. Mark, that would be you.
Yes. As unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, oh wait, that's a different speech. I do have something, and I don't know if it involves this committee, but it's something that has intrigued me, that I've heard about in the last couple of months. When trying to entice businesses to come to Danville, I know that one of the tools we use to lure are tax abatements. But I think there's more that we can use to incentivize businesses to come, especially if we're looking at industrial, light industrial, or maybe education credits. And what that would involve is that we would provide some type of funding, whether it be scholarships, whatever, for their employees to better themselves, however that case may be. It could be as little as $100, per, or it could be 500, whatever. And this really has come to the forefront with a new development in Plainfield that's being built, and it's going to have Ivy Tech. I think it's going to have Vincennes University, the Department of Homeland Security. It'll be multifaceted. It's through the Hendricks College Network in the town of Plainfield. But I think it's something that truly maybe Danville should look at, trying to better our position with these companies. Again, I think anybody can offer a tax abatement. And I think we need to start getting creative on what we do to try and ask companies to come in and look at Danville seriously. Again, I don't know if that's something that would being on your wheelhouse. If I need to go to the council, I got to do a little more research, but I just wanted to throw it out there that we're trying to look at, I hate to say any trick, but any angle we can to try and entice businesses to come into our community. And, especially on that eastern section over by the asphalt plant and Green Cycle and the airport and everything. It's just food for thought.
Mark, you may want to check with the state and see what they offer
Yep.
in regards to the education credits.
They,
I think there's been a strong reliance on the state to provide those in the past.
There has, and we feel like maybe we can bump up that bonus system, if you know what I'm saying. Put it more on a local level, even if we got to the point where we donated enough that it went through Hendricks Community Foundation. I don't, there's a lot of avenues that are available for us to be able to, I think, incentivize these folks to come to Danville.
We engaged the new economic development director.
We
Just
have
talk.
not yet.
Okay,
Our first meeting was not what I would consider, our first meeting was good, it was over lunch. Our second meeting, I don't know, was as, I don't know how to say it kindly, but we were kind of pushed aside.
okay.
He had more of an agenda to meet with Plainfield, Brownsburg, and Avon than he did with us.
Okay.
Even though they just moved into our community.
Yeah, I've not met him yet. I'm
yeah,
gonna meet him tomorrow or Monday, yeah.
But we were at
Okay.
essentially a public meeting, and it was Danville Chamber of Commerce meeting, he was a guest speaker.
Oh, yeah.
And he basically said, Danville's not in a position now where they can benefit from our resources, essentially. And I disagreed vehemently, especially with the money we pay them.
Right.
Fortunately, his staff made a beeline to me and said, "We are so sorry." So,
Okay, well,
it's been mended, make no mistake. It's just,
No.
we were really surprised that he had indicated that, and I think how it started is that even though he had an office of 3, he actually has an office of 6. When you count Plainfield, Brownsburg, and Avon, and we're like, hello, we're over here, we're paying a lot of money to you, so
It's not the first time, Mark.
I understand.
I hope that can be, because when you talk about incentives, that basically is the office that
Yep.
understands that stuff
They,
as well as anybody.
they were the first ones to throw it into my lap, actually.
Yeah, is that right?
And
Okay.
they were the ones that said,
Gotcha.
Mark, you need to think outside the box, and you guys need to start looking at another way to make yourselves look more appealing, because we don't have an interstate,
Right.
so those are
Okay.
the things we're looking at.
Interesting.
Anyway, didn't mean to waste your time, I'm just throwing it out there. I think,
Not a waste of time.
Yeah.
No, I think that is something, incentives for economic development, you
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
that's all I have, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any final comments from the commission? Take a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second. Aye.
Scheduled Danville Redevelopment Commission, November 12th, 2020 meeting. If you would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For quorum purposes, we have 4 voting members present tonight, and Dr. Tracy Schaefer as well. Our one missing member is Mr. Pato, I believe. Okay. So we are able to conduct business. As far as minutes, we will table approval of last month's minutes, and we'll get those out to everyone to review in advance of the next meeting. We'll review and approve our October meeting minutes next month. Moving on for items for discussion, the Christian Church parking lot lease agreement update. To my knowledge, we are waiting on, quotes on how much it's going to cost to fix the retaining walls.
I think, I don't know that Barry sent me actual estimates, but he said he was good to go on those. He was willing to do it.
I need to get him and the church trustee together
Messenger seat.
to walk it and talk it, and so that we and the church can then sign the lease to move forward.
So
It's a good idea.
do you want to, who is that? If you want to forward that
Jay
information?
Hodge,
Jay,
yep,
okay.
it's Jay Hodge is our contact person.
And I will get with Barry.
I don't think it would take long.
Yeah.
Because I talked to him right after the last meeting. Yeah, he goes,
Okay,
I'm good to go.
so that's where we're at. I need those two to talk.
Okay.
And then, I don't know that we have, we've seen some quotes for actual milling and paving work on the parking lot itself. Have we given the official okay for that? And is it still, are we past season to do that? Can we still get that expense incurred this year on this year's budget, or what?
I think it'll be pretty thin.
Yeah.
Just had 150 done. It's just,
Yeah,
it's random.
Yeah.
We check it.
They're saying, from what Barry said, what did he say, 1st of December or something like that? Middle of December.
The projects you approved on Main Street, we've opted to just go ahead and push those off.
okay,
We don't want to push the.
yeah. So look, it sounds like we've missed our window of opportunity. Just got away from us for this year. Yeah. Okay, well, that takes a little bit of the push off of this, but I think it would still be good if we can get this lease signed this year. And yeah, so we can start queuing things up for the spring. All right,
Wonder then, since we had this quote like this year, then does that price go up if it gets done next year?
One of the
And then
things
how-
that actually might work to our advantage, and Gary can speak to this, is if we start hitting up those companies early, say January, and give them a maybe hit first project date, they may be hungry from the winter and maybe give us a better price. And we may have more competition that way because we had limited people. Because when we did this, it was literally middle in the, when they were ramped up in hot season.
yeah,
I would rebid it now, relatively now, for next spring, and probably get a better price.
and were those quotes for the milling and paving, was Barry part of that to say, hey, after looking at that lot and saying this is something we need to do?
I don't know, to be honest
All right.
with you. I'd have to talk to Barry. and find
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, if I could be part of that meeting with Jay, maybe I can directly ask some of those questions.
Okay.
One of the largest variables with asphalt is of course the aggregate that's being used, but the fuel cost. That's where it's gonna get you, and then how that varies right now with the election. Some say that it's going to accelerate, others say, well, we're just fine, but I don't know. But I would say, yeah, let's rebid it now, get a price locked in, because next year, I think you won't know until February, March. So if we have time to do it, yeah.
We can send out to the companies saying, hey, would you like one last fall project? They may jump on it now too and shoot a low price. That's how we actually, when we did 150, who's a company that normally works in Indianapolis, does very little work out here. But they were at the tail end of what they were doing there. They cut a couple of the companies by almost $40,000.
Is that parking lot, the size of that parking lot, is it small enough to be below the bid process?
It was,
I can't remember what the price was.
it was 20-something, I believe. 20,000.
Yeah, we just
So,
guessed.
so you wouldn't have to do bids then? Yeah,
And I think the current's 150 for a public works project.
good.
So, yeah, if we can get us and Barry and Jay over there, do a walkthrough, and, yeah, that'd be good.
Looks like.
One bid was for 28,000. That was with Baumgardner.
Quote limit's 75.
And then this
quotes,
one
150
is
bid.
for 17,650. So I don't know what the difference is there, maybe.
Okay.
Company we just hired for 150, they may want to put a bid in. They weren't interested earlier, it was small potatoes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was really wanting to I mean, we set aside some money to do that work this year,
We did.
and I was really hoping we could do that and not have to eat into next year's budget or TIF money, but we may have to, sounds like.
We'll do everything we can to get this
Yeah.
project complete.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? Okay. We'll move on to the next bullet point, consideration of dissolving the Commerce Park TIF district update.
And I don't have any further information, unfortunately. Everything.
I think in the packet, we got a number
We
on
did,
that
yeah,
drainage.
we did give the drainage, and we had numbers last,
Oh, I thought you were talking about whether that TIF district had been vacated or not. I know Gary believes it.
Oh, I see what you're saying, okay.
You guys took it before the council, didn't you?
has.
Got approval on the projects?
Yes, we took the projects
Oh, okay.
that you guys approved
right.
and took it
Yeah.
from council, but this is a new one.
Yeah, what you have now is for all the drainage work, because last month you wanted to get kind of a number.
An
so-
idea, yeah.
Yeah, right. So 48,000,
48,580, yeah.
yeah.
So we don't have to do anything more on the funds that were in there.
Well, this is a part of that project that we came to you with because
Right.
we had the 3 paving projects, the sign, this, and then at the very end, anything that's left over, we'd obviously like to use for trails and stuff.
So if my notes in my file are accurate, and you can cross-check this to the minutes, Lisa, we have about 125,000 left
Yeah.
in that fund that we have not appropriated to specific projects.
Yeah,
And wasn't there acceleration lanes and deceleration lanes?
yeah, and that's what we
Which
gave,
we did,
Beasley's.
we did approve
You
those.
approved last one.
right.
Okay.
This is the only remaining piece that we had identified that we hadn't approved yet, is that correct?
Drainage and trails.
Yep.
I think the remainder was gonna sort of go towards trails, is that
Right.
correct?
Yep, of the, roughly 125 left. If we approved this 50, there would be roughly 76,000 left
Correct.
for the trails.
The point that you made, Ben, was that you want to be somewhat conservative and hang back on a little bit of cash. If I remember right.
That's my natural
Yeah.
state, yes. State of being. That sounds right.
Unfortunately, this cash would only be used for that particular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so,
So I will formally propose and open the floor to the commission for further discussion on the drainage proposal of 48,580.
I'd move to accept the proposal from Barry Lofton.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the expenditure of 48,580 from the Commerce Park TIF Fund. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And so the balance, we will remain open to further suggestions from the staff on the balance. Okay? Just come see us when
When the time
Yeah,
arises.
when the
yeah.
time comes,
Yeah.
okay?
We'll be here next week.
Moving on then, next bullet point, Phase 1 Environmental Assessment, vacant lot DQ block. To update everyone and refresh your memory, this is the vacant lot that is due east of the Dairy Queen garage. We have entered into a donation agreement to accept title to that. During our due diligence, we had a Phase 1 study. It has been completed, and the staff received an email from our legal counsel at Ice Miller, and I'll read this into the, so you guys know. The Ice Miller reviews the Phase 1 for us. As anticipated, the only recognized environmental concern is the potential migration of contamination from the automotive service and filling station to the west of the lot being donated, the old Pop Logan's. Given this, we believe obtaining a comfort letter in connection with the property transfer is prudent. The length of time required to issue a letter varies. However, Indiana Brownsfield advises that stakeholders should plan for a minimum of 120 days to receive the letter once requested. However, a stakeholder, that would be us, need not have IDEM's comfort letter in hand at the time of closing to be protected under the law. Thus, the Danville RDC can take title while we await issuance of the comfort letter. So, if we will approve the expenditure of roughly $2,500 to pursue the comfort letter, and Ice Miller files that on our behalf, we can then consummate the transaction, take title to the lot, and be protected under Indiana environmental laws.
You know what protection specifically the comfort letter provides?
No. I don't know enough to weigh in on that. That question should be directed to Ice Miller to answer.
I would assume that the comments from IDEM would be directly related to the cleanup of the property that was performed. They had a separate company come in, do drillings, set up a collection point for any of the fluids coming off that, and having a person come in every week and remove those liquids. So that's what I'm thinking it's going to be in reference to, the work done by the company hired by the state to clean the property up, and then they certified that it was no longer contaminated. Thank you.
So has IDEM officially taken responsibility for the cleanup here?
Yeah, they would under the LUST, leaky underground storage tanks.
Pitching in from a non-legal capacity, I think that our filing to the state puts us in a category of them saying, we recognize it's not your doing. It's not your fault. We will not look to you for the cleanup.
Signified by their approval of the request for the letter.
Eventual approval. So I have abstained from votes on this matter and have participated in discussion only as it relates to the expenditure of $2,500 in legal fees to pursue the comfort level. I will need to abstain again and turn the gavel over to Vice Chair Jerry Vornholt to take the vote from here.
Okay. Any discussion, any motion on spending the $2,500 to go forward with the letter from Ice Miller?
I make the motion that we proceed and spend the $2,500 to get the letter from Ice Miller.
Okay, second?
Second.
Everybody, any discussion? Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay, I think we have a 3-0 vote,
With one abstention.
one abstention.
Thank you. So, Lisa, if you would be kind enough to reply to Ice Miller and ask them to proceed
Okay.
with the filing for the comfort letter, and to
Okay.
let us know when it's okay to accept title to this real estate.
Okay.
Thank you. So this will get your attention. When we meet next month, that will be the December meeting with roughly 3 weeks left in the year. So, we're trying to get that title transferred by the end of the year, and so at the next meeting, we'll be really close to time. Moving on then to the last bullet point, under items for discussion, the annexation list update. Further thoughts, comments? I think that this is a 2021 project. That's what I think.
That's what it's
2021
looking.
project, and perhaps our committee can set a meeting time to look at that list in
Okay.
earnest and name by name and have a discussion how to proceed.
Lisa, did you have an opportunity to speak with legal counsel as to whether or not you could look at establishing an annexation area and have an attached list of the properties associated in that area? Is that
Yes.
still a
And-
good way to
and
go?
Yeah, I think that would be the best way
Do
to
it
do
by
it.
one ordinance?
One, right.
Then a zoning ordinance, would there be multiple zonings, or just, it's gonna be the same zoning, right?
Probably the same, I would
Yeah.
imagine, or,
So that was part B to Gary's question, and that is, we've discussed a couple of times a text amendment.
and that is gonna go to the Plan Commission in December.
Wonderful. That's great.
So I
Good.
guess at the,
We listen.
at the time of annexation, I don't know, then does it automatically rezone to the closest? Is that an application that is on one's behalf, a file?
So where
Somehow.
I've seen it other places, it's automatic.
Okay.
When you annex, it comes in, and the staff looks at what it's currently zoned in the county, and they compare it to the town ordinance and says, this is the closest we have. And so when it comes through, it's automatically assigned the closest zoning district in the decision of the director, planning director. Or really any of the town boards, because they'll all see it as it comes through.
Annexation law in the state of Indiana is always under fire at the State House. I would just simply encourage ourselves to move expeditiously because of that. Someone could get wind of what we're doing here, and they say, oh, they can't do that. Then they're gonna go find their legislator and propose something new. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're looking at voluntary, correct? We're not
Absolutely.
in any
Correct.
way assuming or suggesting an involuntary, right? Okay.
Absolutely correct.
So,
Yep. But nonetheless, let's try to queue up a committee meeting for the first quarter of 2021 and see if we can really start getting some momentum on this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next item on our agenda is reports, officers, committees, staff.
I don't either. I mean, we have not talked to Westport Homes. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Almost like it's just, talk about it right now. Of course, you've seen how the old Burger King, Starbucks is getting ready to be constructed. 2 or 3 projects on the square with the Hadley's building, the brick, and then Wright Realtors, they're redoing the front of that. Had another section of Kensington subdivision come in with like another section of Camden has come in. And the Plan Commission approved the preliminary plat for Harbor Homes for Haven the other night. Yeah. Keeping very busy.
Did I see preparation for a light at 300 East?
You did.
State came in and talked to us Tuesday, confirmed. We had a pretty good idea that it was occurring. You hear scuttlebutt,
Yeah.
they confirmed.
I know it's necessary, but I don't want to turn into Avon.
I agree.
I know.
We proposed some ideas to them to maybe try and see what we can do to keep that from occurring.
Have them build a roundabout.
We've actually been in talks with them about a bypass.
Again.
Yeah. They had some interesting ideas. I don't know that, what can and can't happen. Who knows, but one of the things that probably intrigued me the most was that if they said if we could get a bypass, with us in the county and maybe MPO and the feds, that they might be interested in taking over maintenance of it and then vacating Main Street back to us. And then we could restrict, obviously, truck movement, things like that on there, similar to what Avon and Brownsburg and Plainfield are trying to do with what used to be 267, but is now
Right.
Avon Avenue.
Right.
So we could kind of dictate our own future on that being for smaller vehicles, obviously, instead of the big trucks. So I don't know. I'd like to tell you that we have an answer, but right now, everything we're throwing up there is just purely ideas.
My 2 cents on that are if DR Westport comes in and we take sewer out there to open up the west side, not only that project, it will open up other pieces of land that are going to be of interest for development.
I agree.
And, I mean, they will.
Yep.
And then that traffic of thousands more homes.
Yep.
And you don't build those bypasses in a day.
I agree.
Another thing that we're in the process of doing, getting quotes right now for cost, is coming up with the road impact fee. And we're wanting to try to get that. I mean, it takes a long time and a lot of money.
Yep.
But we're hoping that we could get something going and in place before maybe that project comes in, and because that would be a big one that we could.
You think you can get that
capitalize
done
on.
in 2021?
Yeah,
We've got a
we're-
meeting with the engineer.
Tuesday,
Next Tuesday.
I think,
No,
yeah,
next Thursday.
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 Okay.
And that's an economic incentive. That is a developer would prefer to know what the cost of doing business in this town is when they open the door,
Right.
as opposed to negotiating through plan commission and council negotiations separately for each project.
But a developer will recognize the town is doing its job
Yep,
to find it more favorable to locate here.
absolutely.
Yeah, we got a preliminary
Next to TSC, is
quote,
that
and
where
it
the
was
industry's going
It
in?
it was a little salty.
astronomical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
We're
got to
gonna
meet,
read-
that's why we're meeting with them Thursday to see if we can knock some of that out a little bit.
well, you can see why it hasn't been done.
Yeah.
Is there any other impact fees that we have right now?
Park.
Tracy has a question.
The groundwork there next to TSC, is that Goodwill Industries going in there?
Yeah.
Goodwill.
So many projects, I can't
So
think of
that's,
all of them.
that's 3 of 4 of our TIF lots that are built or under construction, the fourth being the Danners lot. What is the status or timing of the sewer plant?
The wastewater would probably be, I'd say, anywhere from 5 to 7 years. They're good right now as far as the plant itself. They think they can manage it. It's the collectors that are in bad shape.
Oh, okay.
And so that's what he's working on now. In fact, he had a meeting with our financial advisors today. Because we're getting such good bond rates, that maybe we maybe pull the trigger a little early on the bans. The problem, again, that we're running into is without knowing what Westport's doing, because, you know, they had initially agreed to pour some money into the project. We don't know where they're at.
Yep.
And so we're trying to figure out how much do we do? How much do we bond to make things happen? Now, the water plant will probably start next year. That expansion will probably start, I would imagine, in 2020. Doing both projects and just a little bit. Dish out right now.
Yes, I do. And is it reasonably anticipated that that developer potentially comes to us to talk about the single-family portion of that project? And if capability of putting back into that sewer project?
That makes perfect sense. When one of the initial meetings we had with them, we actually did talk about the ability of tiffing those areas. They've got they have what they called it, a commerce area or commerce. One was west, one was east, but they're actually talking about 2, one near where Mackey Road is, and then another one out by we obviously would be in favor of moving forward.
One thing to think about, because those gentlemen came and met with the school district also, which I appreciated. We did have some conversation, which they seemed open to build a roadway through in some capacity. We talked about on 2 different levels. One could be just a roadway that would get us through that division into the back of North Elementary, or the potential of a roadway going on through to the north of North Elementary and teeing into State Road 39. So those are things to
We've had those discussions as well, and as a matter of fact, we're working right now on trying to get a meeting set up with NDOT and Westport to see what NDOT would want, what they would like to see, because we really would like to have that connection up to 39 somehow, because that's just, I
If you-
think that's
If you'll check with the state, ask them to check their archives and records. They've been discussing the outer belt on 465. And there was some discussion that 39 might be that outer belt, but a lot of us felt like it needed to be just a little bit farther west. And some people even thought State Road 75. So might be able to bring that to the table and use it as a discussion piece.
But there's also been from what we've seen online, we received nothing official, but there's also been discussion of County Road 300 East to be that corridor between 70 and 74. I don't even know how it would be ventured, but we did receive scuttlebutt that was something that they were interested in. We were quite honestly surprised. When we talked to the state Tuesday, they said, we've not heard a thing about it.
One goal was to have an outer belt that tied all the donut counties.
Terry Moore called me today, the Subway building she owns, and she wants to do something with that facade because it's kind of dated. She really likes what they did over at the Family Dollar over here, put that ephes material on there. She asked if there was any help that the town could help her with on that financially. And all I told her was downtown partnership, she's in that, and that if she has a proposal with numbers and something, she can bring it to the town. Didn't specifically say RDC, but it could be an RDC. I don't know, that may be something that she wants to do. She wants to make it look a little better, and would hope somebody could help her do it financially. Otherwise, she's looking to maybe paint the brick and be done. I did make it clear, though, that is in the overlay district and that she would have to at least get the architectural approval. Design review. So that's something that may come up, I don't know.
I don't know that we have given loans. The partnership has the facade
Yep,
and the beef loan.
yep, and I
Yeah,
made her aware of that as
beef is
well.
what I was thinking about.
Yeah. So, that's all I have.
Any other thoughts, comments from the commission? Mr. Van Laer, anything for us? How's things at the council? Okay, good deal. Okay, then, have a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Meeting.